this for FIFA is good. It's not good in terms of image. It's not good in terms of reputation, but in terms of cleaning up, in terms of everything what we did in the last 4 years, in terms of the reform process, this is good.
It wouldn't be a stretch to say that in the grand scheme of things, Barack Obama, Vladimir Putin, Bibi Netanyahu, even Kim Kardashian herself doesn't wield as much global power and influence as Sepp Blatter, the president of FIFA since 1998, the global soccer organization, and who everyone knows didn't get there because of his smiling face and firm handshake. Blatter is about the only high-ranking FIFA official who wasn't arrested this week in a massive corruption investigation launched by the U.S. Justice Department. But the word is already out that he remains a target and will be busted if and when a dead solid case is made against him. So let's get some insight. The man who invented the concept of sports business, sports legal analyst, and the sports professor, Rick Horrow. All right, Professor, how long before they nail Sepp Blatter, because you know they're going after him?
Leave me alone. I'm reading the indictment. The indictment is such colorful reading. And by the way, the press as well. Loretta Lynch, the new attorney general, wasted 1 day before she announced this huge indictment that's based on investigations that have spanned decades. The press release used the word decades. The organization, 209 countries, 41 organizations, World Cups, $7 billion in revenue, 70% of it's TV. And everybody in the globe depends on how Sepp Blatter and the organizations do business. Qatar 2022 World Cup, Russian 2018, and everybody is waiting to see the full scope of the indictments. Very important in the press release.
Then let's just do that. Wait a minute, but let's get to that right now. Let's get to Blatter, though. Don't we know that eventually this has to lead to him? He's sitting there. He's got his hand on every facet of the organization. So they are going to find him and get him eventually with an indictment.
Yeah, but let's remember there is language in here that says it's alleged and there are no convictions attached other than the guys that have already pled guilty, which is also really important. They've had 2 years to work on guilty plea information that's been provided by people who have pled guilty as early as 2013 and operated probably in a witness protection program under a sealed indictment. And so they've got the goods. The question is the standard. Remember, this is a U.S. court, even though this is international organizations, and you're innocent until proven guilty, even for the head of a FIFA organization that people assume has some questionable dealings attached to it.
All right, a couple of minutes that I have left here. Why the United States? Why is it that our DOJ is the one that goes after them and gets this indictment?
The DOJ spent the resources to coordinate one of the largest investigations in global history we're going to find. You could have indicted in any number of places. The U.S. courts decided, and the DOJ said meetings were held here, TV contracts were held here, television networks pay money here, transactions are done here. So there's no question about jurisdiction. It's only a question about committing the resources to get this done. And frankly, we all understand that Bill Clinton was sitting in Singapore when Qatar won the 2022 bid, when everybody expected it to go to the United States. This is not sour grapes, but as I've said earlier, you're disappointing 5 or 6 groups that could have thought they would have had the World Cup. So you better be fair and you better be right. And this probably wasn't the case with FIFA.
All right, they're never fair. Everybody knows that who's ever dealt with FIFA. 30 seconds I have left then. Here's the big question still that everybody asks. Will this have any effect on any of the future World Cup tournaments?
Very possibly. 18 in Russia, maybe 2022 in Qatar. Absolutely have an impact. Whether the impact rises to them moving it, I'm not prepared to say it couldn't happen, and that's a major statement.
But we are talking about the fact that a lot of money changed hands before getting here, and there's a lot of money that still has to go out that FIFA's involved in here. So it's going to cost somebody something eventually here, right?
Well, there's a lot of money involved in stadium construction. The bids have already been let. The television networks are assuming 2018 and 2022 based on certain locations. You can't just go about changing this overnight. There are amazing complications involved in this. But this investigation certainly is a start.
All right, if you got those tickets, hang on to them because they may become collector's items. Rick Horrow, the sports professor, always a pleasure, my friend. And go back to reading your indictments, would you please? You'll
go back
and
reading. They're not my indictments. They're indictments of somebody else.
Okay, the indictments, and we got you. Thanks, Rick. All right, everybody, that takes care of it. Rock on, true believers. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you back here Thursday, right on the fastest 60 minutes of news, The Hard Line.